is up, good people? What is happening? Let me see if I can get a sound check real quick before we start the pod. I'm going to go ahead and turn the music down just a smidge. If there's anybody here within the live chat that can go ahead and give me the indication that the sound is there. I was having some trouble with my mic connection earlier, so I had to do some reconfiguring. And then all of a sudden the mic didn't show up in the software, so I had to kind of, I guess, reinstall it. So hopefully it's there and you guys are able to hear me. I'm going to go ahead and turn down the music just a little bit more, and then, yeah, just give me some kind of an indication. Let me know that the sound is there. Let me know that you guys can hear me okay, and then we can proceed and I can get the video going. Let's see if we could try that. Alright, as far as I could tell, I think my sound is good. I'll go ahead and turn down the music a little bit more and then do one more sound check, and then we'll go ahead and start the show. I'll get my video going. Alright, I think we're solid. I think we're good. My levels seem like they're okay within the software. You guys let me know if I'm peaking or if there's some kind of static or anything. Yeah, for some reason I just lost my video. It's frozen and stuck. I have no clue what just happened. Uh-oh. Let me see if I can figure this out. Now I'm just trying to get the video. Let's see if I can get the source. Alright, I think it's working now. Alright, let's hope that it works. Alright, I do see a couple people are there in the live chat. Thank you guys for being here, and thanks for your patience as I set up the audio and the video. I think we are solid. Let me just do a quick little check one last time. Alright, I think we're good. Let's just turn this down a little bit more. Alright, mic check 1 2 1 2. Sound check. The levels look good. I think the mic is hot. I think the video's solid. I think we're good to proceed with the show. One last check. Alright, we are good. And I'll be watching the chat as you guys kind of discuss things amongst yourselves within the live. I do have some thoughts and opinions on the playoffs and some of the matchups, and actually just the playoffs in general. And you know, so far I've been pretty happy. I've been pretty satisfied as an NBA fan. I have enjoyed the games very much. All the games I've watched have been pretty good, pretty competitive, with the exception of one series, and that is the Thunder and the Grizzlies. That's not good right now. And I actually don't think it's getting any better, to be honest with you guys. I think there's a huge talent discrepancy between these two teams. I think the team construct of these two teams is very different. There's definitely some talented players on the Grizzlies. That's not what I mean, but when I think about teams, I think about chemistry, I think about roster composition, I think about roles, and then in the collective, and I think about coaching, and I think about preparedness. I just don't think the Grizzlies are ready for this, and I also think that the Grizzlies lack foundational leadership from their star player, and I think it's all part of it. But I'm going to talk more about that today in the pod. We're going to discuss all the games from last night, and then we're going to discuss how those series look after 3 games, because that's what we got last night. It was all the teams that played last night were playing their 3rd game in their respective series. And then there's actually a game going on right now. It's the Cavs and the Heat. We're going to talk about the games that are slated for today. I'll give you guys some predictions and other things, but that's basically what we're going to do with the show. We're going to talk about, where the playoffs are currently as they stand. We'll look at all the series that have 3 games in the books. Then we'll talk about the games that are on tonight and today. And, like the Cavs one is on right now, so we'll be discussing that too. Do me a solid. Please do like and share this. It does help the algorithm kind of get to know our channel a little bit and spread it around. If you can share it, that helps a lot too. We've been doing some call-in shows. We've had some folks call in, and that's been a lot of fun. I'm not sure if you guys want to do that today. I can definitely figure that out, and we can do that. But let me go ahead and jump in with some of my first thoughts on the NBA playoffs, and what I want to open with first. And I'm gonna go ahead and put some imaging for you guys here on the screen, so whenever you guys jump into the streams, you'll know what we're talking about and those kind of things. So I want to start first with the Knicks and the Pistons. I think a lot of people knew and understood what type of possible outcomes we were going to get in the series. This series has been really fun and entertaining as a fan. Now, if you're a Knicks fan, currently you're probably pretty happy. You're happy with the outcome. The Knicks lead the series 2-1. The Knicks, unfortunately, for the first 2 games, they split. They lost game 2. And when you lose game 2 and you hosted it, you lost home court advantage. So that obviously was probably something that was really bothering a lot of Knicks fans, and I'm sure was bothering the Knicks too. For the Pistons, you took one of the 2 games in New York. That is huge. And actually, and I talked about this in my previous video, I think the Pistons have had control of most of those 2 games. If it wasn't for that really, really bad late run in the second game, I mean, there's a version of, or in the first game, there's a version of this where the Pistons are actually up in the series. They'd be the ones that could be up 2-0. They could be up 3-0. Like, that's how close this series is. These teams just match up really, really well with each other in terms of these games being close, these games being hard fought. And the most recent one definitely, I think, exemplifies that. All right, so the game was close all the way down to the wire. The Pistons made it very interesting. They ended up running out of time at the end of the game. But I would say that currently, the way this series sits, I would give the edge to the Knicks. I think the Knicks are in control of the series. And the reason why I say that is because they took game 3 from the Pistons in Detroit. Now, if Detroit had won this game, if they won game 3, then I think the Pistons would be in the clear driver's seat situation, because they took one in New York and then they would have been up 2-1, right? Now they're down 2-1. And then if the Pistons could win game 4, well, then the series is 3-1 going back to New York. And the Pistons could potentially close out the series and put all the pressure on the Knicks. Right now, I don't think the pressure is on the Knicks. Right now, I think there's balance to the pressure. I think both teams feel it. Obviously, it's the playoffs. There's always going to be pressure. But I do think that the Knicks have found a way to claw back into some games. They forced the Pistons into some really bad runs where the Pistons had trouble scoring. And some of that is on Cade Cunningham. Some of that is on some of that, I don't know, we'll call it like a lack of offensive execution for long stretches. I mean, you're asking for trouble. When you can't score points in the playoffs, you can't have quarters where you're scoring 13, 15, 16 points. And if you are going to have those kind of quarters, you're going to have to lock it down defensively. And I think that's what the Pistons are kind of realizing. These Knicks, they've got a couple really nice players. Karl Anthony Towns really showed up in a big way against the Pistons in the last game. Karl Anthony Towns had 31 points, had 8 rebounds. Looking at some of the other guys, kind of the supporting cast, OG had 22, Bridges had 20, Brunson had 30. Brunson was fantastic. He had 9 assists, 7 boards. That's really all you had. So, there was quite a bit of impact, I think, from Karl Anthony Towns, and he's had a tendency to disappear in games. Brunson has been huge for them in the series. He's been a difference maker. So kind of looking at the rest of the roster, Mitchell Robinson, 2 points in 60 minutes of action. That's not going to get it done. That means Karl Anthony Towns is going to have to be really, really good. And same thing with Jalen Brunson. They're going to basically have to carry the mail. When you got Josh Hart getting you 6 points, Mitchell Robinson get you 2 points, Miles McBride 3 points, Campaign 4. You're just not getting much from anybody else. Now for the Pistons, they, obviously they move the ball really well, and guys get opportunities. Jalen Duren got 16 points and 8 rebounds in the last game. He was involved in a little bit of a skirmish with Mitchell Robinson and Karl Anthony Towns and that little mix-up. But you're getting some productivity from him. Cade's been really good in some spots. He's looked really, really good. Dennis Schroeder was huge in the last game, was knocking down some threes. Malik Beasley was, knocking down some shots in some important moments. But I think probably the most positive surprise for the Pistons was Tim Hardaway Jr. really coming through in the last game, knocking down some threes. He logged 36 minutes and had 24 points. So I think the Pistons obviously really need to win this game. In fact, if the Pistons don't win Game 4, unfortunately, I like the Knicks to win the series in 5. Right? I do think that's how it's going to go, because the Pistons would be playing with their back up against the wall in hostile territory in New York, in Madison Square Garden, probably feeling a lot of pressure to have to perform and win. That's a tough position for a team that kind of lacks experience together, especially, first-time guys like Cade Cunningham, who is your most important and most valuable player. It's going to be a lot to ask. And I think at that point, the Knicks would feel like they're in control of the series. They wouldn't feel like they have to press. They would be a little bit more relaxed, looking at it as a closeout game at home. I think they probably could do it. So I think Game 4, I think it's kind of a must-win for the Pistons, because if they don't win Game 4 in Detroit, they're going back to New York down 3-1, and it's a closeout game for the Knicks. A game which I think Karl Anthony Towns would give the Pistons a lot of problems. A game where I think Brunson probably blows up for a big game. And if any of the supplemental guys, the guys, the secondary guys like OG or whoever, if they step up and they perform, it's going to be too hard to probably fight back, if you're the Pistons. Not to say they can't do it, I just don't like their chances. So this, in my opinion, has been one of the most fun series to watch. Game in and game out, we're seeing close, contested games. Detroit has to address those offensive stretches where they just don't score points. And the Knicks are closing out those leads, and then they're taking the lead themselves. They're doing damage to the Pistons, closing the lead gaps and then kind of creating their own. So, JB Bickerstaff's going to have to figure out, what can he do to help his guys get out of those ruts. Tom Thibodeau's got his guys locked in. They believe they can beat the Pistons. They're up 2-1. They have the advantage taking that game in Detroit. They took home court back. Now I think the pressure shifts a little bit to the Pistons, who are kind of out of position in this particular case. But again, this is one of my favorite ones. This is one of my favorite series in round 1. My other one is actually the Clippers and Nuggets, and I think what we'll do is we'll kind of discuss that series as well. All right, so for this series, where do I start with this one? Okay. All right, for the Clippers and the Nuggets, currently the Clippers are leading the series 2-1. Game 3 did not go well for the Nuggets. In fact, they looked absolutely horrible defensively. Things for the Nuggets that they have to address. They are going to have to address their defensive issues, or else they're not going to compete in these next couple of games. With the Clippers being up 2-1 and splitting the series 1-1 in Denver gave them the advantage, right? Gave them home court. And then the Clippers backed it up by winning Game 3. And they didn't win Game 3 by a close margin. It was nothing like that. They won Game 3 pretty clearly. There were multiple quarters where the Nuggets couldn't score 20 points. Second quarter, the Nuggets scored 19. Fourth quarter, they scored 13. And there are 3 quarters that I think really, really stick out. Quarter 1 for the Nuggets, where they gave up 35 points to the Clippers. And I think, when you look at who was hurting them, it's the point of attack. It was James Harden. And their pick and roll defense isn't very good. I don't think their guards do a good job of fighting through screens. I don't think Joker necessarily did a good job either as the big in all of that action. They want to get Joker in that action. Big guy, heavy guy, slow to move, those kind of things. Obviously, centers are a little bit flat-footed. They want that matchup. And James Harden knows what to do with the ball. And he knows how to deliver an assist and get guys while they're moving. And, the guards have the advantages. There's a reason why every team always runs those kind of screens. So I think the Clippers are doing the right thing. Kawhi, he's had some really huge moments. I think he was the reason why one of the games, they were able to win in Denver was on Kawhi's back. But I think Harden's been really good, and I think some of the other guys have been really good too. Like Norman Powell had some big moments in Game 3. Jones Jr. was excellent on a couple of really key plays. Nick Batum had a big game recently, and just things are looking good for the Clippers. Guys, Ty Lue, the head coach of the Clippers, is doing all the right things. The Clippers look prepared. They're executing. I think they're executing defensively and offensively. The Nuggets don't look prepared. The Nuggets don't look like they're able to make the adjustments. I don't think Rick Adelman's son has the playoff experience or any coaching experience that's going to allow him to make decisions on the fly that are going to kind of fix problems that are happening during the game. So when you're watching the game and you're seeing a lack of, responses to situations like, okay, the Clippers are doing X, Y, and Z, and then does Denver call a timeout and address it? Is it certain matchups? Is it certain coverages? Is it rotations? What are we going to do when there's this pick and roll? They're not making those adjustments. I don't foresee this series getting any better for Denver. I think Denver's in trouble. So there's a couple of reasons why I think Denver is in trouble. Number one, the Clippers are up 2-1 in a series in which the Nuggets have home court advantage. They lost it. The Clippers were able to take one of those games in Denver, and they could have had both. The game was close for the one that the Nuggets won. And it was off of a Kawhi turnover, basically, when, if you guys remember, Jamal Murray had him pressed up against the sideline, and he ended up, going off the side of his leg or something. That shouldn't have happened. That was a bad turnover. And if you guys wanted a scoring update, the Cavs are up 22-15 with 2.5 minutes left in the first quarter. Cavs are getting to the rim. Lots of point paints. Now 24-15. DeAndre Hunter with the slam. Anyways, that was just a little game update. Wow, the Heat haven't scored in 5 minutes. Uh-oh. Not good. Duncan Robinson with the 3. He makes. Okay, they got off their scoring drought. Anyways, back to the Clippers Nuggets. So the situation with the Clippers and Nuggets to me is really clear. I think there's more of the same is going to happen the rest of the series. I get it. Joker's amazing. I think we all can acknowledge he's an amazing player. He's otherworldly in some ways, right? There are some of you out there probably who have been watching the league for 5 years. You've been watching the league for 10 years. Joker may be the best basketball player you've ever seen play. In your era. It might be him. It might be LeBron. I don't know. It just depends when you started watching hoops. I've been watching basketball for at least 35 years. So I've seen some incredible players. And there's players that predate me that I only can watch highlights and I can watch old film on. But Joker is definitely one of the most amazing players the league has ever seen. At the center position, to be so well-rounded offensively. And, he's gonna be prone to, triple doubles, because obviously the rebounds are there because he plays center. Assist wise, the offense basically runs through him, whether he's primarily scoring or he's creating the offense for his teammates. So he's always gonna have a lot of triple doubles. At some point, you're looking at his impact on the game and you're saying, man, when this guy sits down, the Nuggets don't know what to do with themselves. It's true. If Jamal Murray can carry in those moments, they can be fine. But they very typically struggle because I think he does so much for them. He's been the primary offensive facilitator. He's been the primary offensive scorer. He's been the most reliable guy. As amazing as Jamal Murray can be, he's not consistently available. He's been injury prone throughout his career. When he was available and played well, they won a championship, right? And the other guys too, supplementally speaking. Russell has had moments. In fact, Russell's been great in this series, in the first 2 games, and you look at Aaron Gordon and his importance to this team. And, I'll be honest with you, I'm a little disappointed in Michael Porter Jr., not just in his poor shooting performances, but his defense has not been great either. And actually, the Denver Nuggets defense is very bad. It has not changed since Michael Malone was fired, and it's probably not going to change. Hey, doctor, what's going on? He said, yeah, Shannon Sharp, Lakers in 5. Absolutely. Yep, Lakers in 5 after losing 2 games in the series already. Anyways, so this Nuggets and Clippers series, guys, I do not think this is going to change. I think the Clippers are going to win this series. Game 4 in LA. If the Clippers come out and put their knee on the neck of the Nuggets, if the Nuggets aren't defending, if they aren't matching that intensity, and the Clippers go on a run, this thing can get ugly. And of course, if the Clippers defend home and win Game 4, the series goes 3-1, and it goes to Denver. Denver's in a must-win situation. They're facing elimination. And I don't like to count out the MVPs, and I don't like to count out champions. But when I'm just looking at the defense, the Nuggets defense is so porous. The Clippers are basically getting whatever they want. If they call for a pick and roll, if they call for an ISO, if they got, Joker in action, if they got the guards getting screened, they're moving the ball. Like, the Denver Nuggets closeouts are late. Their rotations are weak. The zone for the Nuggets doesn't work. Jamal Murray is not a good defender. Sometimes he's serviceable. You'll see him make some decent plays, but consistently he's more prone and vulnerable to being taken advantage of and targeted by the other team's offense. As a point of attack defender, he's just poor. And it's not to be disrespectful of any of the guys on the Nuggets. I don't want to do that. I think they're good players, but I think defensively they don't communicate well, which has guys kind of getting lost in the sauce and all those screens. I think their rotations have been late. I think their zone doesn't work, and I don't think Edelman. I think it's Edelman. I don't think he's going to be the guy that's going to be able to make any changes middle of the series, after games, before games, planning and, what kind of adjustments can you make, timeouts. I just haven't seen it. Ty Lue is a better coach. The Clippers have a better offense. Harden's been excellent. Kawhi's been great. Defensively, the Clippers are much better. This series probably is going to be over in 5. I think the most likely outcome is the Clippers win in Game 4. Whether or not the Nuggets keep it close, I think doesn't matter. I think the Clippers win Game 4. They go back to Denver, and they smell blood in the water, and I think they close out the Nuggets in 5. And I think for the Nuggets, it's going to be an offseason of uncertainty. What are they going to do with this roster to surround, Joker with players that can, I think they just need to address their defense. I mean, obviously you need a defensive philosophy, but you still need defensive players. I think the players on the Nuggets just don't have defensive mentality. I don't see any ferocity, fierceness, primary ball defending, hawking going on. I just don't see it. Like, if you watch the Thunder, that's a defense. When you watch the Clippers, that's a good defense. When you watch the Minnesota Timberwolves, he's really good. They're really good on defense. The Nuggets don't have a version of that anywhere within the construction of their roster. Their bench is weak, in my opinion. I think their starting 5 is good, but defensively, there's a lot to be desired. I think Aaron Gordon is a good defender. I think Joker's actually a decent defender. I just think collectively as a team, when they get put into these situations, when they get into these pick and rolls and they get screened and the ball starts moving around, I think between the philosophy or the lack of the philosophy for their team defense, plus the weaknesses that they have in the personnel, I just don't think they're a good defensive team. They're going to have to address that in the offseason. And I think, if you can get some better defensive principles, along with a couple of defensive-minded players, I think they can be better. And then they can compete for a championship. Maybe with Michael Malone, they had a chance to beat the Clippers. In fact, the Denver Nuggets, in my opinion, if it was harmonious, if they had all their guys healthy, I think this team could have made it to the Western Conference Finals because of Joker and the talent that they have in their starting lineup. But clearly, even with the emergence of Christian Brown, even with the moments that Russell Westbrook has had, collectively their team defense is just not good. And the Clippers are playing really well. So you have a hot Clippers offense mixed with a poorly performing Denver Nuggets defense. You're getting blowouts, 117-83. Guys, that's a 34-point loss. 2 quarters where the Nuggets couldn't score 20 points. I mean, look at some of these numbers, right? Let's look at this. The Nuggets shot 40% from the field. The Clippers shot 48%. 3-pointers, Clippers shot 46%. And the Nuggets shot 27%. You tell me, when a team shoots 46% from 3, what do you guys think the Denver Nuggets defense is doing? I guarantee half of those threes would be considered wide open. For them to make 18 of 39. Those were probably wide open threes. They got out rebounded. The offensive glass, the Clippers were on it. Turnovers, you see the Clippers are taking better care of the ball. Look, it's clear to me. The Clippers are better coached. They have a better offensive philosophy. And their execution on defense is clearly leaps and bounds ahead of the Nuggets. I don't think the Nuggets have a chance. I think the series is over in 5. And then all we're going to be discussing or hearing about in the offseason is what can the Nuggets do to better surround Nikola Jokic with better teammates. That's what it's going to be about. And I don't believe the starting lineup's all that bad. I think the starting lineup is good, but they do need to address their defensive problems. That's for sure. All right, so that is the Nuggets and the Clippers. I'm leaning heavily towards the Clippers in that series. All right, next, let's talk about the Magic and Pistons. All right, so the Magic win this game, a very, very close game, 95-93. And this game, from what I could tell, was won and lost in the third quarter. And it was kind of like second quarter, third quarter flip between the two teams. The Magic fought really hard in the first 2 games. But you got the impression that the Magic just don't have the horses to keep up with the Celtics. I mean, hell, the Celtics didn't even have Jason Tatum in game 2. And the Celtics still won. Obviously, role players step up, and it's easy to do that at home. Much easier than it is on the road. So the Magic come out and they play a great game, and they executed. They did very, very well. They were able to hold off the Celtics at the end of the game. And I know Tatum, obviously, falling on his hand, that injury may have hindered him in this particular game. Let's take a look at, kind of what he did. He scored 36 points, had 9 rebounds and 4 assists in 39 minutes of action. I don't think his injury impacted him at all. I think what you're seeing here from these guys is when role players go on the road, they're less likely to impact the game dramatically. Al Horford, 6 points. Porzingis, only 7 points. That's not going to get the job done. Your third best player, who's really, really important to the success of this team. In my opinion, if Kristaps Porzingis is unavailable or misses games due to health or is ineffective, they're probably not going to repeat as champions. If he is playing at a high level and is available, can get them over the top. This year for the Celtics is going to be a tougher challenge to win a chip than last year. I think that's pretty obvious. Derek White, 16 points in 40 minutes of action. Jaylen Brown, 19 points. They just didn't get enough. Peyton Pritchard has been amazing for the Celtics this year. 3 points in 26 minutes. That will not get the job done. For the Magic, Paolo was fantastic. 29.6 rebounds. Franz Wagner was really good. These guys have been killing it. If you guys have watched the games in the series, these 2 guys, Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, have been excellent. If not for them, I don't know where these Magic would get points from. They have been fantastic. I'm loving the way that they're playing. Franz Wagner, man, 32, 7, and 8. Really, really good performance from him. Wendell Carter Jr., 10 points, but that's really it. I think 9 off the bench for Anthony Black. He's been decent in this series. But this game was won on defense. And when a score is 95-93 in today's NBA, this game was won on defense, getting some stops. The Magic shot 41%. The Celtics shot 44%. From three-point, the Magic were not good. The Celtics weren't that much better. You guys notice that the Celtics aren't taking 63s anymore? Like the stuff that they were doing in the regular season, you're not seeing them take 55 63s anymore, right? Because that's a recipe for disaster. Scoring update, Cleveland is up by 16 here in the second quarter, 39-23. Oh, man. Game is in Miami. Miami having a hard time getting some points. Free throw-wise, pretty even in terms of opportunities. Rebounding edge goes to the Magic. They were +3. They were killing the Celtics on the offensive glass. If there's going to be an adjustment to be made for the Celtics, I think they have to address the glass. They're going to have to get the Orlando Magic off of the offensive glass, prevent the second chance opportunities, and do a better job of securing the ball and getting stops. You know, a lot of people don't talk about it, but in order to complete a defensive possession, you must rebound the ball. If you don't rebound the ball, these guys get another opportunity to score points, and those second chance opportunities sometimes are just little bunny putbacks. All right, so they're going to have to do a better job than that. Turnovers, the Magic took care of the ball better than the Celtics. The Celtics had 19 turnovers. That's not going to get it done. Even with 19 turnovers, even with giving up all those offensive rebounds and losing the glass battle, the Celtics still had a chance. They were within a possession. This series, you know, if I had to, you know, choose, you know, who's got control of the series, the Celtics still have control of the series. They defended home court. They took 2 games in Boston. But the Magic did their job. In Orlando, they won Game 3. And now I think because they've seen their hard work pay off, they got a close win. And they played the Celtics hard for, you know, a lot of Game 1 and 2. I think the Magic believe that they can beat the Celtics again. Now, they're going to have to execute. Game 4, the Celtics are going to make some adjustments. You're going to see, you know, Coach Mazzulla really address the rebounding issue. Going to want to really address the turnovers issue, right? And if the Celtics can kind of fix those things, I think the Celtics can win Game 4, and that changes the complexity of the series. That means you're going back to Boston up 3-1. If the Celtics lose Game 4, the Magic find a way to win, which they can. That's a possibility. You get the feeling that this is going to be a long-ass series. Like this series could go 7 games, which sounds crazy, but the Magic are like that. The coaching staff has done a really nice job of developing players in Orlando. I think guys play within their roles. I think they believe in Franz and Paolo as their offensive leaders. You know, and I think they're doing all the right things. Just look at some of this, right? To show you guys how tough the Magic are. The Magic held the Boston Celtics to 11 points in the third quarter. Can we talk about who the Boston Celtics have on their team? The Boston Celtics have Jason Tatum, who's one of the most complete offensive players in the NBA. Jaylen Brown, who's an excellent offensive player. Peyton Pritchard, who's the 6th man of the year. Derek White, who has emerged as one of the best spot-up shooters. You know, that's not really a primary scorer, right? He's a supplemental player, role player. Very reliable all season long. You know, you have guys, Kristaps Porzingis. These are offensive weapons. Drew Holiday can be a very good player, offensive player. He can knock down shots sometimes. He could play facilitator as a point guard. Like, there are weapons in Boston. And the Orlando Magic held them to 11 points in the third quarter. That's defensive intensity. That is defensive detail. That is, you know, fiercely competing to get stops on the defensive side of the ball. The Magic are a really fun team. They're a really great team to root for. If you're an Orlando Magic fan, you're loving it. You're the competitive nature of this team. I'm telling you, Franz and Paolo are fantastic young players. The Magic are going to be a problem for a long time. And, they're obviously have dealt with injury problems all year. But this is their peak of what they can do, in my opinion, with the roster that they have. And I'm really excited about seeing them having an opportunity to win Game 4 in Orlando, go back to Boston with a chance in Game 5 to maybe make a difference in the series. Like, could you imagine? And I'm not saying this is a guarantee. I don't think that it's a slam dunk that the Magic win Game 4. The Celtics have championship aspirations. They want to defend their title. They're motivated to win. That's not an issue. The Celtics are not beat up. The Celtics are not, mentally fried or anything. In fact, if I had to pick, Game 4, I'm going to go with the Celtics. But if the Magic somehow pull off that upset, go back to Boston with a tied series, and then somehow, some way find a way to upset the Celtics in Game 5, go back to Orlando in Game 6 with a chance to win the series, like, that is crazy. Guys, that would be a Cinderella story. I think it's the least likely outcome. I got the Celtics winning Game 4, and then with the series tied going back to Boston, I like the Celtics to win the series. But the Magic are tough as nails, and I liken the Magic to the Pistons in terms of their toughness, right? I think those are the type of teams that they are. And I really do believe in those two guys, and in Franz and Paolo. And I think they can play spoiler in some ways to the Celtics. I still like the Celtics to win the series. I still think the Celtics are in control of the series. But you never know. The Magic could make this thing interesting. They're a lot of fun. I love what's going on in Orlando. All right, this game between the Thunder and the Grizzlies. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the Thunder and the Grizz. I think what's happening here in this particular series is what we expected. I don't think there's any surprises. The Oklahoma City Thunder are leaps and bounds ahead in terms of talent, in terms of abilities, just the player, the personnel, the leadership, the defense, the reliability of SGA. He's an MVP candidate, all those kind of things. I never thought that the Grizzlies had a chance in this series. I didn't see it. All right. And maybe you did, and that's okay. I respect it. I got you. But this game was crazy. The Oklahoma City Thunder are now up 3-0 against the Grizzlies, but in this particular game, the Grizzlies had a 26-point lead, and the Oklahoma City Thunder had to come back from that lead, and they erased the deficit, and then they took their own lead. We're up by couple of possessions. So in the 3 games that these teams have played, Oklahoma City absolutely dominated the first 2 games, and then the Grizzlies jumped out ahead early in Game 3. Could have made it interesting had they found a way to win. I think Memphis was actually playing some great defense in the first half, which was getting them some easy points going the other way in transition. You're not going to beat Oklahoma City in half-court sets. That's going to be really hard to do. You're going to have to make a lot of tough shots, take a lot of tough shots kind of deal. They're just so well-rounded defensively across their entire roster. Even when their starters step out, their bench comes off, a couple of guys in the rotation come off, and they maintain that defensive intensity. They're a very tough team to beat. But then something happened in the second quarter. Ja Morant, who was having a huge game, gets injured. He goes up for the dunk over Lou Dort. Lou Dort gets caught under his legs, and he falls on, I don't know, like his hip or his side or something. Seemed like he was in a lot of pain. Took the free throws, missed them, and then went back to the locker room. Took the hairpins out, took his jersey off. Basically, he knew he was out. He never made it back into the game. That injury is probably really painful, and he's going to be extremely limited even if he's ready for the next game. If not, he's probably going to miss it. So Game 4 without Ja, the Grizzlies are cooked. They couldn't beat the Thunder with him. How are they going to beat the Thunder without him? I would be shocked if they were able to win a game here in Game 4. But OKC just took over in the second half. And actually, it was like the Chet Holmgren game. Chet was great. Chet was hitting threes. Chet was making defensive plays, rebounds. He was doing it all. And, the Grizzlies, I think, still had an 8-point lead going into the fourth quarter. But, the Thunder just too much. Their defense gets them back into games very, very quickly. Their three-point shooting gets them back into games very, very quickly. When you get stops and then start making your threes, you're going to be a problem. And OKC defense is just so freaking tough. They are really, really good defensively. And SGA is great. And those guys, when they start knocking down threes, and this is a really important game that Chet actually kind of stepped up. You needed to see that. Like, if the Thunder are going to win a chip, Chet has to be excellent. SGA has to be excellent. The rest of the guys got to do their part. That's just the way it goes. Unfortunately for the Grizz, they don't have a chance. The Thunder are too good, too much talent. The Grizzlies, they fired their coach towards the end of the season. They're just playing with house money. I like some of their players. Jaren Jackson Jr. is a nice player. Desmond Bane is a nice player. Scottie Pippen Jr. is a nice player. Ja's exciting and all those things. Zach Edey, is he a rookie or a second-year player? I think he's a rookie. He's got a lot of upside as a dominant center in this NBA. So the Memphis Grizzlies are going to be good. That's not the issue. I just think that, just given all those circumstances at the end of the season, and then their inexperience and all those kind of things, I just think the Thunder are just too good. I think the Thunder are obviously at an advantage in the coaching side of it. So you look at in-game adjustments, after games, preparedness for the next game. You give the Thunder the edge. I think defensively, the Thunder are elite. I think the Grizzlies can't do much to really consistently stop the Thunder. They've got different layers, right? SGA is his own offense. Chet Holmgren knocking down threes. How do you defend that? Guys are moving off the ball. They're rotating the ball around, knocking down open threes. It's just a really dynamic team that's hard to beat. There's a reason why they had the best record in the NBA, and it was, it's basically best team in the league. Them or the Cavs, right? Anyways, I think Game 4 is a closeout game. I think Oklahoma City wins. They beat the Grizzlies. I think they beat the Grizzlies by like 20-plus points. I think that's how it's going to end for them. And then the Thunder will move on. All right, so we covered the Knicks. We covered the Nuggets and Clippers. We talked about the Celtics and Magic and the Thunder and Grizz. What's left to discuss from yesterday? Oh, okay. Let's quickly go over Game 3 of the Milwaukee and Pacers game. All right, so in this game, looks like the game was pretty closely contested in the first quarter. Teams were trading blows. The Pacers got out ahead and had a 10-point lead going into the second half. And then in the third quarter, something happened and the Milwaukee Bucks erupted. And the Pacers found themselves in a scoring drought, having trouble getting points. The Bucks outscored the Pacers in a substantial fashion in the third quarter. Now, the problem with that is if you're down big going into the fourth quarter, it's really hard to overcome that. The Pacers scored 18 points in the third. So, clearly they weren't knocking down their shots. The shots were probably contested. And, it looks like the Bucks, to me, they scored 70 points in the second half. So the Pacers defense is going to need to just play better. You got to offer more resistance than that. All right, let's take a look at some of the numbers from the game. All right, so the Bucks shot better from the field and also in three-point. They did a better job being aggressive, getting to the free throw line. They made their free throws 82% clip. Something tells me that Giannis's free throw shooting was decent last night. +8 rebound advantage for the Deer. +3 offensive glass advantage for the Deer. Turnovers pretty similar, nothing really crazy there. Points in the paint, the edge to the Bucks. I think the Bucks did exactly what they wanted to do. They executed their game plan. I think, when you look at the individual efforts, Giannis 37, he was basically unstoppable. He had 6 assists, 12 rebounds. Very nice balanced game from him. Dame back from the, blood clot issue. He seems to be, able to play 32 minutes. That's pretty good, right? So he basically played a full game's minutes. Only scored 7 points, but, he's been out of action for a long time. And, had that little skirmish, in the previous games, a little bit of yapping. But you got a little bit of help, right? 12 points from AJ Green, 10 points from Bobby Portis, 37 points from Gary Trent Jr. That is phenomenal. So when I look back at this game, if the Bucks end up coming back down, they were down 2-0, right? They lost both games in Indiana. If they come back and win the series, we're going to talk about the Gary Trent Jr. game in Game 3. And, you got Brook Lopez with 0 points in 15 minutes. I'm not sure if he got injured. I think he typically plays more than 15 points. But I think what they did was they were experimenting with some lineups. And they knew they had to keep Gary Trent Jr. in the game. He was feeling it. Kuz actually got you 9 points. That's not bad for 21 minutes. I mean, I've seen Kuz have games where he played 20 minutes and had 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 steals, 0 blocks, where he basically does nothing. You know what I mean? So, exciting to see them getting something out of Gary Trent Jr. He's been really, really nice for them. Wow, big game for him. Pascal Siakam was excellent. Aaron Naismith was good. Tyrese Halliburton was pretty good. He's probably going to have to score a little bit more for them to win. He did have 10 assists. He had 7 rebounds. So a pretty well-rounded effort. Obi Toppin, 10 points off the bench. That looks good. Benedict Mathurin, 9 points off the bench in 14 minutes. That's pretty good. I think for the Pacers, Miles Turner was a really big difference maker in the first 2 games. So he's going to have more impact. 6 points in 24 minutes. I'm not sure if that was expected. Maybe it was a matchup thing. I'm not sure if he suffered an injury, if he left the game for any amount of time. But I don't know, man. I mean, typically he's one of the most important players on the Pacers, especially defensively. I mean, he was one of the key reasons why the Pacers won the first 2 games of the series. Andrew Nembhard, usually plays better, got 6 points. TJ McConnell, 0 points off the bench. Just didn't get much. So I think for the Bucks, they did what they had to do, right? I think they did exactly what they needed to do, which was win Game 3 at home. They're going to have to win Game 4 at home. You don't want to go back to Indiana down 3-1. I think it's going to be a very difficult task for the Bucks to win the series if they got to go to Indiana and win, Game 5, and then come back home, win Game 6, and then beat Indiana in Game 7. So the Bucks have to win Game 4. Otherwise, I think they're in a really, really tough position. This is a really good outcome. Obviously, Giannis was phenomenal. Gary Trent Jr., can he repeat another performance like that in Game 4? I don't think that's realistic. He's a really good player. I just don't know if you can expect him to get you 30-plus points. I think you're going to need a little bit more from your other guys. Like Kuzma's due for a breakout. That would be nice. Brook Lopez get you more than 0 points. That would be huge. Just to give Giannis a little bit more so he can continue to play both sides of the ball very aggressively and not be so exhausted having to carry the offense all the time. If you can knock down some shots for Giannis, you make his life a lot easier. The defense can't hone in on him. They have to defend the other guys. It just opens up the offense for the team. So look for the Bucks to get this win in Game 4. If the Pacers win Game 4, if they make the adjustments, figure things out, the Bucks are going to have a tough task beating the Pacers in this series. All right, last game from yesterday. Last of the Game 3s from Friday night. Talk about this Lakers and Timberwolves series. For those of you that objectively watch basketball, for those of you that actually watch the games, don't just look at box scores. Don't just, I'm just a LeBron fan, or I'm just a Luka fan, or I'm whatever. If you watch the Lakers play, and if you have watched the Lakers play since they got Luka, and this actually goes back even before they got Luka, when they had Anthony Davis, the Lakers have lost games in ways that you can't even imagine. Like, they're absolutely ridiculous. And so much of that showed up in this game against the Timberwolves. This game in Minnesota, Game 3, is a key indicator of what I think could repeat in Game 4. And if the Lakers don't win Game 4, if they can't split this series, The Timberwolves are going to close out the Lakers in Game 5. I think Anthony Edwards would love it, would salivate at the opportunity to beat the Lakers in Game 5 in LA. It's not going to be easy, right? The Lakers playing with their back up against the wall, Luka, LeBron, all those kind of things. But my goodness, the Lakers' biggest issues all showed up in yesterday's game. Like everything. And I'm going to tell you guys kind of what I saw as I was watching this game. First of all, Minnesota won definitively in terms of the second half. Like the Lakers really didn't have answers for the Timberwolves. Whatever the Timberwolves wanted to do, they were able to continuously do it throughout the second half. The second quarter for the Lakers was really good. But you can't beat the Minnesota Timberwolves on one good quarter of defense. That's not going to happen. That's not how that works. The Lakers gave up 32 points in the first quarter to the Wolves, 32 points in the third quarter, and 30 points in the fourth quarter. Their defense is not good. There have been some games where the Lakers' defense has been good, but more often than not, the LA Lakers defense is full of lapses, miscommunications, flat-footedness, poor point of attack response to defense. I'm going to talk more about that in terms of what I saw with specific players. But Minnesota was moving the ball early. It led to high-quality shots for the Wolves that they knocked down. The Wolves are basically getting past the primary defense of every single LA Laker. It doesn't matter who it is. LeBron got beat on ball. Luka got beat on ball. Dorian Finney-Smith got beat on ball. Jordan Goodwin got beat on ball. The defensive player of the decade, Jared Vando, got beat off the ball. They all got beat. Which means the offense, when they get past that first primary layer of defense, they get to the next level, you got an easier shot. It's closer to the rim. You can dish for an easy assist. The Lakers' primary defense is trash. It is garbage. And shout out to the Minnesota Timberwolves. They have athletes. They have guys who are fearless and not afraid of the Lakers. They're not afraid to attack their defense. They're not afraid of Jackson Hayes. They're not afraid of the second layer. Like, Rui's a decent defender, but he got beat too. And AR-15's a nice offensive player. He's a really reliable shooter. He's gotten really good. But his defense is nothing special. The Lakers' transition defense is awful. The Wolves were getting all types of points in the fast break off of misses. The second quarter was the only quarter I could say that the Lakers actually played good enough defense. LeBron was really good. LeBron was excellent last night. Offensively, LeBron was very good. Look at some of these numbers. LeBron had 38 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. I think he had 2 blocks and 2 steals. LeBron was very good last night. But collectively as a team, this team's defense isn't good. Luka can only give you 17 points. If Luka gets you 17 and Bron gets you 38, unfortunately, that's still not enough to beat a good team like the Wolves. Luka's going to need his own 30. LeBron's going to need his 30. AR-15, in my opinion, Austin Reeves, he's going to need 30. So why would I make that assertion? Why would I say that LeBron, Luka, and Austin Reeves all have to score 30 each? Here's why. Look at the rest of these point totals from these players. Jordan Goodwin, 3 points. Jared Vanderbilt, 3 points. Gabe Vincent, 5 points. Dorian Finney-Smith played 29 minutes, 8 points. Jackson Hayes, 9 minutes of action, 2 points. Rui Hachimura, 38 minutes of action, 8 points. The LA Lakers offense lacks dynamics. They don't have an offensive system that moves the ball around, getting guys in motion, getting guys in rhythm to hit shots. They are predicated on isolations. They are looking for mismatches. They do little pick and rolls and stuff sometimes. Their offense is so basic. They just rely on the abilities of LeBron to get to the rim. And tonight he did that, plus he was shooting well. They rely on Luka, either it's facilitating or scoring, and then Austin Reeves if Luka's not in the game, or if Austin Reeves, to knock down a shot. Those three guys are fantastic offensive players. But if all three of them aren't able to score 30 points, they're not beating the Timberwolves in Minnesota. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a matchup nightmare. The Wolves are so much more athletic. They're so much faster. They're so much more aggressive on both sides of the ball collectively, and they have more ways of beating you. That's where all of this is going. The Wolves have different ways to beat you. The Lakers have one way to beat you, and that's one guy at a time. LeBron has to beat you, or Luka has to beat you, or AR-15 has to beat you. The three of them don't do anything at the same time. So that means you hone in defensively on that guy, and you live with the results. The Timberwolves are so different. Julius Randle is having a great series, 22 points last night. Jaden McDaniels, in my opinion, is the player of the series so far. Yes, Jaden McDaniels, not Luka, not LeBron, not even Anthony Edwards. The player of the series so far is Jaden McDaniels. Look at his production in their 2 wins. He had 30 points tonight, 5 rebounds and an assist. Defensively, he's the one who's typically is guarding guys like Luka. And in my opinion, he did a nice job on him last night. Anthony Edwards was very good. 29 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. You're going to win when Anthony Edwards is dishing out 8 dimes. And he's super efficient from the field. Conley Jr. got you 9 points. DiVincenzo stretches the floor. He's so good at those timely threes. Naz Reid only 11 points, but it's everything else he does. And it's the fact that he's a center stretching out to the perimeter, forcing guys to come out. The Wolves have a system. The Lakers have 3 players. That's the difference between these offenses. So, field goal percentage wise, pretty close. 3-point shooting, very close. Actually, the Lakers were better. Free throw attempts, pretty similar. The Wolves did shoot better. The rebounding differential, non-existent. They were both at 38. The offensive glass, the Wolves were a little bit better. Got a couple there. But look at this right here. And I made sure I wrote this down. The Timberwolves had 8 turnovers and the Lakers had 16. Let me make something really, really clear. Because there's a lot of these delusional Laker fans that go into my videos where I'm very critical of JJ Redick, and I'm very critical of LeBron when he plays poorly and those kind of things, and Luka when he plays poorly. 8 turnovers to 16 is an indication that this is a poorly coached team. Teams that are well coached don't turn over the ball. But when you have 2 guys in LeBron and Luka who are turnover prone, this is the type of stuff that can happen. Absolutely, these are the kind of things that could happen. You're not going to beat the Timberwolves. They're so good offensively. They're playing such good basketball. They're so good defensively. You can't give them extra possessions. You can't do it. Rui had 3 turnovers. That's much too much for him. Luka had 5. He's got to be better with the ball. He's the primary ball handler. LeBron didn't turn over the ball a lot. I don't have a lot of blame for LeBron, to be honest, after watching last night's game. I don't think there's a lot to blame for LeBron. I think Luka deserves a lot of blame because he wasn't shooting well. I think Luka was 2 of 8 from 3. He was 6 of 16 from the field. So I guess there's some offensive blame to go around. But I think just defensively, the Lakers were just garbage last night. Look at some of these shooting numbers for the Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards was 5 of 10 from 3. What are we doing to stop him? Jaden McDaniels was 13 of 22. Should we look at Jaden McDaniels' shot chart? He was getting to the rim. Nobody was stopping him. Rudy Gobert didn't hurt you. It's not like weird players were getting you. These are the same guys time and time again that are hurting you. The LA Lakers coaching staff. JJ Redick, where are the adjustments? Where are the adjustments in the game? Where are the adjustments at the end of quarters, at halftime? Where are your adjustments game to game? You're now down 2-1. If Minnesota wins game 4, the Lakers are going to have an almost impossible task of beating the Minnesota Timberwolves 3 games in a row. You like their chances to do that? What have we seen from the Lakers in 3 games? I've seen bad defense outside of 1 game, where for a few quarters they actually played good team defense. And I'm seeing guys like Julius Randle killing the Lakers. Jaden McDaniels is killing the Lakers. What are the Lakers going to do? What's JJ going to conjure up? JJ, the Socrates of NBA coaching. What's your answer, sir? They say that he's a better coach than Darvin Ham. So explain to me, what has he done so far in 3 games that indicates that he's made a bunch of fixes and adjustments to deal with the Timberwolves? It's very possible that the Lakers lose game 4 in Minnesota and this series goes 3-1 in favor of the Timberwolves back to LA. And if LA's defense self-implodes this upcoming game or the next one, this shit is over. And JJ Redick is going to look stupid, sound even stupider. And I'll be happy about that, and I'll tell you guys why I'll be happy. I don't think JJ Redick is a special coach. I think, obviously, he lacks experience. I think he has a big mouth. I think he has a bad attitude. His lack of humility renders himself to catch venom from a lot of NBA fans, a lot of, enthusiasts of the league. I'm not a JJ guy. I don't know how anybody could be a JJ guy. What proof do we have that he was deserving of an NBA head coaching position, let alone the Lakers? But LeBron put him on the podcast. He gave him the position, fired Darvin Ham for it. Everybody says Darvin Ham is the worst. Well, what the hell's happening right now? When you are watching these games against the Timberwolves, what are you seeing? You mean to tell me that Darvin Ham couldn't do this? Lead a team to bad defense? If I remember correctly, I actually think the Lakers' defense was better under Darvin Ham. I don't see anything special going on in LA from JJ Redick. What do you see? What can we hang our hat on and say, the Lakers really fixed this up, or the Lakers are just that much better with JJ Redick? What? And offensively, boring. It's a snooze fest. It lacks dynamics. It's one guy doing one thing at any time. It's Luka in isolation or a pick and roll with Jackson Hayes. It's LeBron in isolation. It's Austin Reeves sometimes catching a shot, taking it, or creating if Luka's not in the... Where's the dynamics? What is so special? And defensively, porous. Getting chewed up and spit out. At times they're getting run off the floor in transition. They don't communicate well. And the pick and roll defense, it is atrocious. I will do a film breakdown if you guys want. You can let me know in the live chat if that's something you guys want to see. I will do a film breakdown of any of these Laker losses against the Timberwolves, and you will just see heads spinning in the pick and roll. Lakers players just out of position. And you will see Luka getting roasted. And you will see LeBron getting roasted. And you will see Rui getting roasted. And you will see the Jaden McDaniels cooking them. And Anthony Edwards cooking them. It's not a good team. Defensively, it's not a good team. And offensively, they lack dynamics. Guard one guy. Only one guy can hurt you at any given moment. Bron had 38 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks, 2 steals. He played great. But to what outcome? They lost by 12. Austin Reeves scored a little bit. They lost by 12. The Lakers' poor transition defense. The Lakers' horrible point of attack defense, flat-footedness, guys just cooking them. Getting by that first level, getting to the second level, leading to easy shots, kickouts, threes, poor rotations, poor closeouts. The Lakers, that little zone that they play is garbage. Shit does not work. And the reason why they play a zone is because their defense is slow. And they're getting cooked. So what is JJ doing? What's he doing that's so special? Is he motivating his team to play defense? Is he inspiring them to play lockdown defense? I mean, there was not a stretch in this game where I thought to myself, wow, Lakers are definitely coming back in this game. Like, I get it. They had a good, second quarter, and that was nice. But one good quarter out of 4, you ain't beating the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves are good. Naz Reid didn't even have a good game. What if Naz Reid actually had a good game? They would have lost by 30, The Lakers still have stupid, bonehead, lazy turnovers where Luka's dribbling off his foot or his leg, and LeBron did the same thing. LeBron actually did this really annoying, I'm not going to be critical of LeBron's performance tonight. I thought it was great. He overall played a great game. But there was a play where they were trying to get the ball out in transition to LeBron. He was hot. He was feeling himself. He was hitting the threes. They tried to pass to him. I think Luka passed it to him, and it got picked off. And LeBron just stood there, didn't even get back on defense. This team has 2 guys that are slow and lazy at any given play. LeBron and Luka. I get it. LeBron has these little come from behind blocks. He has those moments. And then there's that moment where because it's a turnover, he just gave up instead of hustling back to get on defense. These games, this is the playoffs. This is not game 32 of game 82 in the regular season. You can't do that shit. And what precedent does it send? What message does it send to your teammates that in the playoffs you're still doing the same lazy shit you did in the regular season? The Timberwolves killed the Lakers on the offensive glass. The Lakers have those stupid lazy turnovers where they're doing that whole stand around frustrated thing, all of that. DiVincenzo stretching the defense. Naz Reid, a difference maker. Anthony Edwards been great. Jaden McDaniels is killing the Lakers. Julius Randle has been fantastic. Mike Conley's had some important plays. Man, this would be hilarious. It's crazy. I remember after the Game 2 win in LA, all of a sudden, the Lakers are going to... Lakers in 5. Lakers in 5. Lakers in 5. Well, the Timberwolves are up 2-1. Game 4 will be in Minnesota. Lakers in 5, huh? Anybody with 2 eyes and 2 sides of the brain that watches the Lakers play defense realizes that this team has problems. I saw it all year. Go back and check all my videos. Defensively, they played good basketball in January and February. That's not an identity. The Thunder play defense every game, every minute, all the time. The Cavs had a good defense this year. The Magic have a good defense. The Celtics have a good defense. The Warriors have a good defense. All these teams left in the playoffs, they can all play defense. The Clippers have a defense. The Nuggets don't have a defense right now. There's no more bad defensive teams left in this thing. The Lakers aren't going to be beating up on the Portland Trailblazers anymore. They're not beating up the Wizards anymore. There's no more of that shit. They're playing a team that has a stout defense and a philosophy on offense. And for the large majority of this series so far, JJ Redick looks like a fish out of water. The Lakers look completely disjointed on defense, and their offense lacks dynamics. You're not surprised if you have been objectively watching the Lakers all year long. You're seeing all of their weaknesses manifest themselves for long stretches of games against a good team. The Wolves are attacking the weaknesses of the Lakers. And the Lakers have no answer. What do I expect to see in Game 4 in Minnesota? I expect the Lakers to play better defense. They can't play the same shitty defense as before, or else they're just going to get blown out. I expect the Lakers to play better. In fact, I think Game 4 is going to be really close. I don't know who's going to win Game 4. I think the Timberwolves can win it and then go back to LA 3-1. That's definitely a possibility. The Lakers could win game 4. And then the series gets really interesting, right? It probably goes 7 games. But the Lakers are going to have to do it defensively. You're not going to outscore the Timberwolves. It's become abundantly clear that the Lakers are not going to outscore the Minnesota Timberwolves. Look at this series. All right, so the Lakers lost 116-104. Game 3. The Lakers won game 2, 94-85. They played defense. They won 94-85. Game 1. Where's the game 1? 117-95. So if the Timberwolves are going to score 115, 117 points, the Lakers don't have a chance. The Lakers have to play defense. They have to. They don't have a chance of beating the Timberwolves unless they play defense. Timberwolves are too good. Like, I get it. It's the 2-7 matchup or whatever the Timberwolves finished. What'd they finish? They were a play-in team, weren't they? What was that? What'd they finish? But they got really hot at the end of the year. And they're playing really good basketball. Man, this is a matchup nightmare. I can tell you guys this. I will be celebrating a Lakers exit like a damn party. It'd be like an almost Super Bowl for me because I think it's poetic justice. The way that they did Darvin Ham dirty, the way that they disrespected that guy, and they pretend like JJ Redick is a better coach, and they pretend like he knows what he's doing, and they pretend, and the fans, the delusional Laker fans, the delusional LeBron fans that think that he's capable of carrying this team. So what happened last night? What happened? What happened to Lakers in 5? What happened to JJ Redick, the Socrates of NBA coaching? What happened to mind the game? Are we minding the game? Is that what's happening right now? Is this minding the game? 2 games where you lose by double digits. 1 game where you actually played some defense and you won. Where's the minding of the game? Where's the amazing offensive and defensive philosophies? Getting the most out of your players. What? You had a great game from LeBron. Still couldn't win. Austin Reeves was good. Still couldn't win. The Lakers' defense is slow, doesn't communicate, flat-footed, horrible in transition, and this team makes lazy turnovers. This is not a well-coached team. Contrary to the delusional JJ Redick and Laker fans, this is actually a poorly coached team. Not the role players. The role players are coached. But Luka and LeBron, your big two, they're not guys that are coached. They're guys that are minute managed. That's the only coaching involved with these two guys. It's just the managing of their minutes. They're not coached. Luka's above coaching. You know, he probably sees himself that way, right? He hears how everybody says he's so amazing and fantastic. LeBron, his whole career, has been uncoached. He doesn't want to be coached. He doesn't want to be told what to do. He doesn't want to be told how to execute. You saw what he did with David Blatt in Cleveland. You saw what he did with that whole thing. You know, Mike Brown and all the coaches he's gotten run out of town. You know, these guys, I mean, LA. Like, that's... What's JJ supposed to do anyway? What is LeBron going to say? I put you here. You know? But I want to see the dynamic that when this season is over, if the Lakers get bounced out of the first round, it's a failure. I hope people understand. The Lakers getting bounced in the first round, they finished 3rd in the Western Conference. Lakers in 5. What are you going to say? What are those people going to say? You're going to look stupid because you didn't analyze the game. You didn't analyze the team. You didn't analyze the film. You didn't watch and see the problem. You turned a blind eye to their weaknesses because you just wanted to see how perfect they were. You were enamored by Luka Doncic. You were enamored by LeBron. You were enamored by this JJ Redick hire, and it's like showtime. And this team is being run off the floor in these games against the Timberwolves. I can't wait for people to have to defend their takes when they said JJ Redick's a better coach than Darvin Ham. People are going to look and sound ridiculous. How? You got a huge game out of LeBron and you lost by 12. What is JJ Redick doing to adjust or fix or address? What? This is exactly what I thought was going to happen. The Timberwolves were going to get these Lakers in positions that were going to put them in trouble. I love it. I'll be very, very happy to see the Lakers go home early, and a lot of people look really dumb. Lakers in 5. Series is 2-1. Game 4 is in Minnesota. Give me the Timberwolves in Game 4 in a close one. The series 3-1 going back to LA. Anyways, thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for tuning in to my broadcast. We're going to talk more of these games later. I was going to spend some time kind of talking about what was going to happen the rest of today in today's game. So it's the Cavs are on right now. They're up by 20. Darius Garland isn't even playing. Cavs are beating the Heat. There's 10 minutes left in the third quarter. They're up 62-42. Thunder have an opportunity to close out their series against the Grizzlies today at 3:30. Give me the Thunder in that game. Nuggets versus Clippers. That game is in LA. Clippers are up 2-1. Give me the Clippers. And then Game 3, Rockets versus Warriors tonight at 8:30. I don't know what the availability of Jimmy Butler is. If Jimmy plays and he's mostly, able to play at a high level, give me the Warriors and Golden State. If Jimmy is out, injured, limited, if he can't be who he normally is, this is going to be a really close game. Jalen Green's got to show up. He's going to be the difference maker for them. And Fred VanVleet, can you do something, please? Seriously. Come on, man. And Amen Thompson, who I think is a fantastic player, you got to stay out of foul trouble, sir. All right, I'm going to take the Rockets in a close win in Golden State, and this series completely turns in the tables. All right, tomorrow we got the Knicks and Pistons, and Lakers and Timberwolves, and Boston and Orlando, and I think Pacers and Bucks in the late game. Anyways, thanks for being here. Appreciate you guys.